I'm just going to, because everybody was asking how do we change the materials on the building, is one thing, and the second thing I want to tell you about is how to get your drawings out of Revit and be able to print them, which is so it's just two things. It should only take about 15 minutes, hopefully, and then I'll put it up as a little video. So I'm obviously not going to get a chance to finish this model for you because you're all too busy, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to change the materials of this building on the external wall. So if I select the wall here, I can see that it's actually set up as a basic wall, exterior 360 wood siding. So somebody has set this up. So I'm just going to go back and change this to a standard, whoops, that's not what I want. I'm going to change it to a standard wall just so we have a very standard starting point. I'm going to change it to generic exterior. So now it's just a generic wall. It's got no materials assigned to it at all over here. Okay. So I'm going to make a new wall. So if it's selected, I can edit the type, and very important is that I duplicate it. If I don't duplicate it, I'm going to modify all of those wall types in the entire project. So I'm going to make a new wall type by duplicating it, and then I'm just going to call it sample wall, so it has a name. And then up here under this button is where you edit the structure of the wall. So this is where we edit the different layers that go into the wall. If you want to have a different material on the outside and on the inside, it's under this this button here. So edit structure. At the moment it's just set up with a structure, but down the bottom here I can insert as many layers as I want into the wall. I'm just going to switch on the preview on the left here that shows you what the wall looks like. So we've got 4 layers of 0 thickness and 1 layer of 350. So we'll change this one to, let's say we'll just change this to 100. And then I'm going to put in a thermal layer. We'll leave it as by category, and I'm going to change that to 250. And then up here, I'm going to put in a finish layer on the outside, and I'm going to make that 25. And actually I don't need these ones, so I'm going to delete that one. Delete that one. So now we have 3 layers in there of the correct dimensions. So I'm just going to change the material of the outside. So I'm going to select this, and this tiny little button here is how you change the material. So I'm just going to press that, and then we get this materials dialog that comes up. Now it'll probably come up something like this on your screen, or something tiny on your screen. So it's a good idea just to grab the bottom corner here and stretch it across so you can see what you're doing, and then you can grab this and stretch it across as well so you can see what's going on. So what comes up here are all the materials that are already in the project. Now these are ready to use in the project. I could just select one of these and use it on the wall, but let's say I want something that isn't in there. This button up here, this hidden little button up here, which I always forget where it is where the library of other materials is. So if you press that, you should get a library popping up underneath, something like that. My setup is divided into Autodesk materials, AEC materials, and Dan EDU materials, and they're all pretty much the same, except there's less in the Dan EDU materials. I don't know why it's divided that way. They're all divided into ceramics, concrete, fabric, flooring, all that kind of stuff. So you can very quickly go through, if you want to find a type of flooring, for example, and select a certain type of material for that. So let's see what we got here. If we've got stone, that's not maybe a good one. Let's try masonry. So here in masonry we've got certain types of bricks that are set up. So if I want to use this pale yellow brick, all I need to do is hold the cursor. You can see it's got this kind of rough texture finish on it. Hold the cursor over it, and this little arrow will appear, and if you press that arrow, it'll push this material up into your project up here. So I'm going to press that, and now you can see it's turned up over here into project materials. So down here is the library, and here's the project materials. Now I can switch off the library again, or you can leave it on, it doesn't matter. I switch it off just because it makes it clear on the screen here. So now I've got an Adobe brick for a material. once you select it, you get a panel on the right here which gives you control over what it looks like. So if I select the Appearance tab here, we can see that the photograph that is used to set up the material is set up in here. And not only that, but we have something that's called a relief pattern. And what a relief pattern is, it's just a black and white version of the photograph, but it allows a rendered image to take to give the impression that it's generating shadows. So you don't have to model every single brick individually. The relief
bump map?
It's exactly the same as a bump map. And in Revit, sometimes it's called a bump map, and sometimes it's called a relief pattern, just to confuse everybody. It seems to depend on whoever has made the pattern. Okay, so it's either a relief pattern or a bump map. Okay. So we can modify this in here if we want to. We can select it, and you can see that the panel that shows the brick type has been given a measurement. It's been given 609.6 millimeters high. If we think that's correct, we can leave it as that. But if we think, if we count the bricks, for example, and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's 8 bricks in there. And if it was 8 by, what's the Danish brick dimension? I have one here. Danish bricks. Height of bricks, 15 courses equals 1 meter. So sometimes you have to actually go and do a calculation as to exactly what you want the bricks to be. So if 15 courses equals 1 meter, I'm going to go 1,000 divided by 15. So that's the size of a Danish brick from Peterson Bricks, for example. So 66.67 millimeters is one brick. So if we take that, and if we go back to Revit, and we can see how many did we say there was? 8. So if we multiply that by 8, let's just multiply by 8. We can see that that dimension should actually be, in Denmark, 533.34. So we can just change that. So I'm going to change the height of it to 533.34. Similarly, you can see once I did that, it modified on both dimensions. That's because these two values are locked together. If the length of the brick is different, you can unlock them and give them their own value in the same way. So you can play with the scale of the bricks so they look right based on where you are in the world. So that's done. So if I just press done, then that's set up. But it's very important that we also do the same for this bump pattern, this relief pattern. Otherwise, the relief pattern and the bricks will be out of sync with each other, and it'll just look really weird. So you can either link the texture transforms before you do it, or you can just do them one at a time. So I'm just going to do it one at a time just so we do it again. So 533.34 and done. So I'm just going to press OK. So I've made the external finished brick. I've only made it 25 millimeters deep, so let's make it a little bit more realistic. Let's make it 103 millimeters deep. And you can see that this modifies over here. And then I press OK. And OK again. And now if I turn on the shaded, oh, what I forgot to do there was edit type. Edit structure. We need to make sure that it displays. So we've done this, and that's fine. If we do a calculated render, it will it'll render like this. But we also want to show it in shaded view. So we need to say shaded view, use render appearance. And if I click that on, you can see that it slightly changes the color here. So then I apply that. OK, and OK. And now it's changed the color of it in shaded view, but if I change it to realistic view, it will show the bricks in there as well. Okay. So that's fine for if we wanted to do, for example, a perspective view or a high quality elevation. Let's say if we change this view also to realistic view. That's the wrong side. Change this one to realistic view. I can't remember which side I made it on. Ah, there it is. So you can see your elevations suddenly become much higher quality. and then you can switch on shadows and so on, and the materials are automatically applied to it. But often you don't want to show this level of quality and elevation. You want to have like a line drawing. So if I switch this to hidden line again, it's just a box. So I wanted to display a line pattern on the edge when we showed in this view here. So I'm going to go back into it again, select the wall, edit the type, edit the structure, and go into the materials. One of the options under the graphics tab here, if we select the Adobe Brick again, is the surface pattern, and at the moment it's set to none. So I want to select that, and I want to actually apply a model pattern, and I just want to have a line pattern shown for that. So we have a horizontal line pattern already set up, and I'm just going to duplicate that, and I'm going to change it to the right value. What did we say the value of one brick was? I can't remember. 533.34. So we're going to say horizontal 533, and we change the line spacing here, and I don't know if they'll allow us to do decimal points, but let's see. Okay. And we have another button down here called texture alignment, and this is really useful because that allows you to take the photographic image of the texture and align. Oh, I think I messed up there. Hang on a sec. We need to change that need to change that horizontal thing. So edit it. I meant to say 53, isn't it? 53.3. 53.34. That's what I get for listening to students. And then we just want it to be a parallel line as well to go like that. Okay. Okay. Texture alignment. Now we should be able to align the two patterns together because we've scaled them so that they're similar to each other. So we can kind of see that we can align the joints together like this. Press OK. Apply. And then OK, and OK. So now you can see in the line drawing we have that representation of the brickwork, but if we change it to a realistic view, we have that representation, and they both align together. So if I go into the 3D view, it would function the same way. So there's the brick wall, so I'm going to change it to hidden line view, and we can do it like that, okay? I think that's all I want to tell you about materials, because that's pretty much, it's just a development of that. So the last thing I'm going to talk about today, because you've got enough stuff on your plate, is how to print. So I'm just going to do one sample print. The last day we set up a sheet here, and we set up a sheet with a view on it like this. So this is the key to printing, is setting up the sheets. If you want to print in Kia, everything is based on the web service. So you need to first make a PDF file and then upload it to the web service. Okay. But the way to do that is to go into your sheet view, go into the or sign at the top here, and go down to print. And then we can select print. You should have an option at the top of your print menu here to print to Adobe PDF. If you don't have that option, you need to download an external PDF writer, but I can talk to you about that later. So this will allow us to print from this view into a PDF view. We have two options underneath here. We can either combine all your views into a single file or create separate files for each individual drawing. So I always combine them into a single view, because that means if you email them to a client, he can quickly go through the drawings without having to open a file every time. So it's just one page after another. And then we have the option here to select which views we want to print. So we could actually print all these views at the same time just by clicking them on, or we can just select the sheets. At the moment we just got one sheet in here, so I'm going to press OK. It's asking, do we want to save these settings? And that makes a lot of sense if you've got a drawing set with 50 drawings in it. You don't want to always be selecting it all the way through. You just want to print the updates each time. So say yes, OK. And then down here we've got the setup button, and this is the important button. So if I press setup, we need to set up the sheet type that it's going to be printed out on. So since we've set up an A3 title block, we need to use an A3 sheet. We need to center it, so that's correct. We don't want to fit it to the page, because what that will do is it'll slightly squash the drawing to get it on the page. We need to set the zoom to 100% so it comes out exactly the right dimension, so we can be sure that the scale that's written down here at the bottom, if there was a scale in this drawing, is correct. And then I press OK and OK. So you get a message about the type of printing. You don't need to worry about that for the moment. And then it's asking where do you want to save it. I'm going to save it on the desktop. Sample Intro Project 1i, save. And it's being saved to a PDF document, which is there. Okay, so it just opens it in Adobe PDF. So that's just a document now. We can zoom in. It's got a fair bit of detail in it. We can roll down. And if we had more than one drawing in the sheet, it would print them all in a row that we could flip through. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about then is if you want to print it here in Kia, we need to use their print service if you haven't used it already, which is called Papercut, which is at this address, papercut.kia.dk. Has everybody have you heard about this before? Yeah. Got to sign into that. English, log in. Go to WebPrint, submit a job, and make sure you choose something that says color and something that has PCG in it, which is Princess Charlotte's Scale. Go to print options, upload the document, and we can just find the document down here. Upload and complete. So now it's being submitted to the print server, and you can just go with your student card. If you have your student cards, do you have student cards? Yeah. And then just swipe them, and then you can take your prints out from there. Okay?
Is it still for free?
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I hope so. Any questions about that? Or will I just shut up now and get back to work? Okay, I'll shut up.